Okay, hey, I'd like to welcome everybody out there to Amateur Radio Roundtable. Tonight is Tuesday, February the 2nd. Can't believe it's already the new year and February is going to be gone here before we know it. I want to welcome all of our shortwave listeners out there. I was trying to get an audio level set here. I want to welcome all of our shortwave listeners out there and just let them know that this is being webcast on W5KUB.com is the URL if you'd like to tune in, and you can watch the show. And we also have a chat room where you can actually chat with us. We'll open up the telephone lines a little later, and maybe our guests can take some questions from you guys out there. Please join us on Facebook. We've got a Facebook group for our webcast. We've got over 4,000 members in that group now, and it's basically just to help you see what's coming up on the show and where we're going next and what live events we have. And it's also just a good ham radio site. Post pictures of your shack and talk ham radio in there. So please join that Facebook group. Join us on our email distribution list. Right now we're sending emails out right before every live show to about 6,000 clubs and hams around the world. We'd like to add you on our distribution list. And if you don't want to receive that, you can always click the unsubscribe button at the bottom. You may have noticed that we just returned from the Capital City Ham Fest down in Jackson, Mississippi this weekend. We went down and did a show down there. First time we've been down, and it was a great show. It was a lot larger than I thought, and they really treated us well, and just overall it was a great show. One of the things about this show, Amateur Radio Roundtable, you're going to notice over the next couple months that we are greatly growing. And I think in the next 2 or 3 months, we're going to explode. We're going to be bringing on 3 or 4 additional co-hosts. We've got a lot of segments coming up. We've got a person that travels the world, has contacts everywhere. He's going to be doing an international segment. We want to bring in a shortwave segment for our shortwave listeners out there. And, of course, we've got our regular things on kits, on antennas. We'll have Hamfest reports. One of the upcoming things, next week we've got Herd Island, the expedition. We're a sponsor of Herd Island. Dr. Bob's going to be on here next week with us, giving us details about Herd Island. They're leaving March the 1st. That's a 45-day trip, 21 days operating, and the other 24 days are travel. Herd Island is just south of India and about 1,000 miles from the South Pole. So that's going to be interesting. We're going to be able to have updates from them every Tuesday night, and hopefully we'll see them standing out there with the penguins. Tonight, I want to introduce to you one of our new co-hosts, Frank Howell, K4FMH. He's going to join our show as a new co-host, and Frank brings a wealth of ham radio experience in addition to his TV production background, which we really need. He'll have a monthly segment, or maybe more often, and he's also going to be busy working behind the scenes. Frank's a chief editor. He's a former professor who works on many projects in the science and technology and computer and amateur radio field, and he's deeply involved in his community. He has a blog. You ought to check his blog out at k4fmh.com. So we had little technical problems right before the show, so I'm going to be doing some camera adjustments during this, but I want to bring Frank in and turn it over to Frank, and I've already introduced you to him, and let's see what Frank has to say. So Frank, let me see if I can get you here. There you go.
Hey, Tom, listen, Frank, K4FMH here. It is a pleasure to work with you again. You were gentle with me this weekend. I did a little stand-up interview or two at the Capital City Ham Fest with people like Chris Wilson of Yaesu USA and some others. Hard to believe that back in 1974, I spent the summer at New York University studying video production. Now, as they say in the movies, that was in a land far, far away or long, long ago because it used something new called a half-inch videotape, a stopwatch, and a grease pencil. And it's been kind of some skills that have certainly gone dormant with today's computerized editing. But I do work with the Central Mississippi Amateur Radio Association, where I'm a vice president for programming. And I am delighted that I'll introduce in a moment a guest that we happen to have at our club meeting at the end of November. And I'm going to tease you a little bit with that. So you might want to get the call-in number down, 901-286-1116. That's 901-286-1116. And get your questions ready, because tonight we've got a guest, Gerald Youngblood. How many people have SDR in their call sign? And it's for a good reason. Now, look, my initials are FMA, so my call sign is vanity, pure and simple. Our guest, Gerald Youngblood, it's not vain at all. He happened to invent software-defined radio through the FlexRadio Systems, taking a very innovative approach. So we're going to talk about Gerald here in just a moment. Now, I've not been licensed that long, but I've been listening since I was 8 years old on a grandmother's RCA floor model that had the green winking eye, and the magic of listening on 75-meter phone to those old guys complaining about those new fangled, silly sidebanders, what they like to call mush mouths, kind of captured my attention. So I had the opportunity to get licensed over at the Georgia Institute of Technology in Atlanta. I'm still a proud member of the Atlanta Radio Club. So it is a privilege, and I'm certainly happy to be part of the Amateur Radio Roundtable family. And I think, Tom, that's a fair statement. We will have a new co-host that will come on in late March. He is a veteran broadcaster. We won't name him yet. We've got a couple of other co-hosts that we're talking to. So we hope to have a variety of talking heads along with a diverse set of guests. And before we get to our guest, we've got a big announcement on the Amateur Radio Roundtable. Tom, are you sitting down? I'm just checking.
I'm sitting down, yeah.
Okay, and the reason is we have CQ Publications, best known for CQ Magazine, along with their contest and their other publications, joining us tonight as a headlining sponsor for Amateur Radio Newsline. Rich Moseson and his crew, none the least of which their advertising director, Charlie Payne in Lexington. You need to ask Charlie, what's wrong with Kentucky basketball? That'll get him going. You may not get a free subscription, but hey, that'll keep Charlie Payne active. We'll have people like John Bergman, the WAZ awards manager, and many of the other contest coordinators for CQ Magazine, as well as Rich Moseson himself, coming on monthly, talking about what's up in CQ. So we're delighted to welcome CQ Magazine into our family. We've got some other sponsors that are coming online. We're going to talk to you about them in the coming weeks, and we'll be delighted to share with you some of their products. But without further ado, I want to welcome this evening's guest. He's just one of my homeboys from Mississippi, just another Mississippi guy who made it good. From Austin, Texas, Gerald F. Youngblood, K5SDR. Welcome aboard, Gerald. Glad to have you tonight.
Thanks, Frank. Pleasure to be here.
Well, you know, if there's anything that's taken amateur radio by storm, it's been, what year did you know, I know it's a moving target, particularly when you have a startup, but what year did you begin to really ship products? What year was that?
That was March of 2003. 2003. Seems like ages ago.
I bet it does. And I know today you were out at a production facility dealing with some of those little small problems that keep products from getting out the door on time. And that's kind of a joke to anybody who's in the manufacturing business. That is the thing. Product doesn't go out the door, you don't make sales, and you don't deliver. So, you know, we're looking at a good 12 to 13 years. So in the last decade, for sure, it'd be hard to put your finger on one thing that's kind of revolutionized anything. We get into fistfights with that kind of talk. But clearly, one of the points of discussion would be the development of a commercial product for software-defined radio. Am I on base with that?
It really is. You asked when we started shipping. I actually started working on this in 1999 as a hobby, just purely to see if I could develop a software-defined radio around using a PC and a sound card. So it was purely a hobby from 99 until it actually turned into a business in 2003. And related to what you're asking, I know that in the early days when I would ask people if they knew what software-defined radio was, in a room of 100 people, you might get 2 hands in 100 people. And I guess the exciting thing is today I think you'd get 100 hands out of 100 people or close to it. So it's really been exciting to see the growth in the recognition of what software-defined radios can do to reinvigorate the excitement in our hobby, make it really fun.
Well, I know in reading blogs and websites and, kind of review sites and things like that, I see that as a commentary of one or more of your customers who'd say, I was kind of getting bored and I kind of sort of saw this thing called software-defined radio and I'm just alive again. And tonight we want to talk a little, about a number of aspects of that. What a lot of people don't realize is you developed this as a hobby, and I think the label you've been kind of calling yourself is the accidental company. I'll give a shameless plug. If you go and just Google Gerald K5SDR and CMSARA, Samara, it's a local club that I'm involved with, you'll see a talk that Gerald gave just at the end of November about this accidental company. We've had in about 2.5 weeks just under 700 views. Now this is almost a 2-hour video, and I will say, I'll use some real academic words, it's a tour de force on a number of things. A, how do you make something that's a viable commercial product? And B, how do you get the finances to work? I mean, how do you put all those things together? And it just might take you where you never knew that you'd go. And I'm going to let Gerald explain that in a minute. And thirdly, when your hobby is your job, you come home, you don't maybe look at it the same way. I guess a professional fisherman might go on a busman's holiday and go fishing for fun, but it's almost like parts is parts when you get home. But yeah, I know that you have a very modern shack at home, and I'm going to ask you a little bit about that. And then the next thing that video talks a bit about that I find most interesting is how once you made the jump into segmenting the signal into digital, it just seems like all things are possible. And so shameless plug for the Central Mississippi Club, but also a plug for people learning a bit more about you, because we were very proud of how that video story came together. And you did a marvelous job at truly capturing a club's attention. And as we know, there's always a few of us old geezers in the club that are just likely to go to sleep at anything. And no one was asleep, far from it. So we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight.
Yeah, let me just say the chat room is jumping with people all talking about their Flex radios. I'm surprised with how many people are in there. Now, so Gerald, did you remember all those questions? You probably had to write them down because he ran a bunch off. So Frank, a 15-second recap. What questions do we want to hit him with first? Go ahead.
Well, you mean that I want to hit him with?
Yeah, I think you had some questions there to start the conversation.
What I was pointing out is that video, about 2 hours long, touches on some key elements that I think, independent of our broadcast tonight, people would probably want to go. Now, I'll start off with this one. When people think of Flex Radio, they think of what state? The Lone Star State. But Gerald is not from Texas. What state, I'm saying this to the chat room, ask this to the chat room, Tom. What state is Gerald Youngblood from? Who can get that one right in the chat room? That's the first thing. We're going to come back to that. I want to hit Gerald with this point. I see a revolution in what you've done with what I call the pan adapter perspective. Simply having a bandwidth to look at through a pan adapter, or whatever term you might want to use, is to me revolutionary. Now, the only person that I've known of, Gerald, before your products came out that listened to shortwave radio using an RF spectrum analyzer is Bob Grove, formerly of Grove Enterprises and Monitoring Times magazine, that's now been replaced by the Spectrum Monitor. What's your thoughts about how revolutionary was the pan adapter perspective for the user?
Well, I think that I can't claim that I invented the pan adapter, because that term has been around quite some time. What I think that we've been able to do at Flex Radio is change the way we see the spectrum by giving you the ability to see the spectrum in real time with ultra high resolution. For example, if you zoomed in on my radio over here, the actual bandwidth of each pixel is only 1.5 hertz, which means that you can see signals that are literally below the noise floor. So I think that's one thing that makes it revolutionary for ham radio, is you can actually see signals before they pop up. Let me give you an example of that. We actually had two Flex radios in our new Maestro, which you'll see behind me here, on Palmyra Island over the last few weeks. And a couple of guys there said that it revolutionized the low bands. They were, because the signals are very weak on 160 meters there in the middle of the Pacific, they were able to actually watch the signals come out of the noise. They could see the signals before they heard them, and the QSB would bring them up above the noise and then back down. So they were able to watch for the signals as they came up, put their transmitter, or actually listen to those signals, and when they came out of the noise, copy them and work the station. And they said that they were able to work signals they never would have worked from Palmyra in any previous way. And then the second thing is not only the pan adapter, but we're able to make true brick wall, no ring filters that have shape factors that are near vertical. If you can imagine a filter, usually the slopes are like this on analog filters. Well, with digital filters, you're able to make them near vertical. And so you can actually walk through stations in very close proximity and get rid of all the QRM. So one other thing about the pan adapter that I think we really kind of revolutionized is the point and shoot concept, where you can actually just see the signal, click on it, or in the case of Maestro, just touch the screen and you're instantly QSY'd to that frequency. So all of those things kind of combined have changed the way you think about radio. So I like to think of it as a visual radio. We've added video to radio in such a way that you actually you see signals, you can identify what they are and click tune them, and it's kind of like shooting fish in a barrel.
Well, you mentioned something there that kind of spawns another question. I kind of label that as the pan adapter perspective, and I think you have very eloquently put that in context of Flex Radio, etc. But my focus is on exactly what you said. It's what that does. Perhaps you didn't invent it, but you implemented it in a way for amateur radio operators for the first time on the commercial market, so that they can actually make use of it and that. The other thing that I think, or there's many other things, but one other thing that I think you have done is you've been able to record the RF signals, not the audio frequency signals, of which you can do as well, but to record the RF bandwidth. Now, one of my first blushes with SDR or being a receiver is the Italian-made Perseus SDR. Fairly expensive at the time. I don't know. I paid about $11 or $12 or $13 or $1,400 for it, and it surpassed my Japanese radio NRD 545 in performance pretty quickly, with maybe the exception of a few utility type things. But when you think about the ability to record the RF spectrum for later playback, not as an audio frequency file, but the ability to go interrogate it just like you were hearing it live, that to me is also an important operational element. Would you agree?
Yeah, and we actually did that originally to make it easier to do demos back in the Power SDR days. We started developing Power SDR. I guess I actually started on it back in '99. And we probably added that record and playback capability somewhere around 2007, I would think. And we did it so that we could go to a trade show and not drag an antenna around. And so we were able, in Power SDR, to record 192 kilohertz of spectrum and then play it back. Now, 192 kilohertz of spectrum you can record to a hard disk for a long time. Now, our latest radios actually sample at 245 million samples per second. So if you can imagine that, that's massive amounts of data. And so you have to downscale that. So I expect that we'll be adding some of those kind of recording capabilities, but at a wider bandwidth. But you have to consume a lot more data with those kinds of bandwidths.
You bet. Now I will tell you, I'm going to throw you a curveball a little later. You know, it's sooner or later it's going to be baseball season, and those throwing arms are going to get up to speed. But I'm going to follow up on that later because it's a little bit more of an esoteric question, but I think very relevant for some of the issues that we face in amateur radio. But I want to move on. You mentioned something called Maestro, and I know you've got it sitting there to your right. I think the talk you gave here in Mississippi was one of the early on live presentations by Gerald himself. Tell us about what the shift is from.
Do I have the right?
I have a Flex 3000.
Do I have the right picture up there? Is that the Maestro?
Yeah, that's it. I have a Flex 3000 and absolutely love it. And as I told you earlier, I'm trying to be a good boy and save my pennies. And you know, I just might have my Drake TR7 and my Kenwood 940S. They may get a new home in exchange for a few coppers to move into your 6000 series. But talk to us about the shift from your PC dependent processing from, say, the Flex 3000 and 5000 to your 6000 signature series, what that means. And then if you would follow up with why then you brought out the Maestro, what it is, kind of how it captures this shift from PC dependent to what the new 6000 series does. I think that's a fundamental shift in your technology.
It really is. The original concept around the earlier Flex series radios and Power SDR is that you would use a PC to do 100% of all the processing. That meant all the signal processing, the DSP, as well as the graphical user interface, etc. And so all the burden was on the PC. And it was done either by way of in the first SDR 1000, it was sound card based. Then we moved to FireWire and then USB. The problem is that that makes it more difficult to do very high-speed synchronous things like CW, believe it or not. CW is actually one of the hardest things to do in a radio, and do it well with full break-in QSK. So that's one thing. Second thing is that the internet is now ubiquitous and will be with us long after I'm gone. And the Ethernet and Wi-Fi have become, virtually every house has Wi-Fi now. and we have internet capabilities. And so we wanted to build a radio where the radio was actually a server on a network. And that, if you think of a radio as a server, then everything changes. So we put enormous amounts of computing power into the radio. We used field programmable gate arrays as well as high-speed DSPs, and we have a ARM 1.2 gigahertz ARM processor plus a couple other DSPs. There are actually 6 processors in our new radios. And so we have the power of what a Cray computer would have had around the year 2000. And it would have filled a room. And now we have that power in a ham radio. And so that gives us the capability to do massive amounts of signal processing in the radio, connect that over an Ethernet cable so that we can run the actual user interface anywhere. For example, we run them on PCs, and you can have as large a display. If you want a 70-inch pan adapter, you can have a 70-inch pan adapter with real-time high resolution, which you can't get with a piece of test equipment. It looks really like a high-speed spectrum display that is as big as your wall. So you can do that, or you can put it on a Macintosh computer, an iMac now, and beside me I have a Maestro unit, which weighs 4 pounds if you put a battery in it. And it completely replaces the PC and gives me an 8-inch touchscreen as well as a tactile interface for VFO knobs, audio, AGC, bandwidth, etc. And it's designed by a couple of the world's top contest DXers for very high performance operation and contesting. So I also have an iPad client. I can run my radio anywhere in my house from my iPad and make contacts. Or I can take Maestro out on the deck in the backyard on a beautiful day, like we had 80 degrees last Sunday here in Austin, Texas, and sitting on the deck I can play radio in January. So you can see it gives me a lot of flexibility.
There's several questions here. Man, the chat room is just jumping with questions. One is, can you use multiple Maestro units with a single flex radio? That's one question.
The answer is not today, but it is definitely part of the plan. And I don't give you dates, but it's a high priority. The contesters want that. They want to be able to run multi-1, multi-2 using single radios. So it's definitely part of the plan.
Okay, and we'll open the phone lines maybe in about 20 minutes or so. We want to be sure to have as much uninterrupted talk with you here in the beginning. Another question was, is the protocol between the Maestro and the radio open? Can I write my own Maestro client?
Yes, you can. We have over 100 developers doing that today. In fact, I mentioned that there's a Mac client. It's called Dog Park SDR. It's from the same guy that wrote Mac Logger, and that's available today. We'll be demoing it in Orlando next week at Hamcation. The iPad app was written by K6TU in California, and it's available from the Apple Store. You can go download it. The receive version is free, and it has an in-app purchase for the transceive version. There are people working on other clients. I'll give you another example. Sometime in the next 2 or 3 months, we'll have 2 Flex 6700Rs, which is our receive-only version, flying on the space station. And a system integrator brought those radios and wrote a complete AIS system which tracks ships around the Earth, wrote that system talking to our API. You can talk either directly to the networking layer, or you can talk to a package we call, it's more of a wrapper around the networking API. And there's also one for the Mac and and the iPad, iOS, that has been made available by third parties. So we have a lot of people working on different applications, both ham radio as well as commercial.
And what about your operating system? Is it a Linux type system?
Inside the radio, it's Linux, but the way a developer would view it is through the network API. Mm-hmm. And everything that can be done on the PC or you see on Maestro, you can independently do on any device. And it doesn't even require a GUI. You could actually do things with the radio that don't have a human interface. They could just be done all automated. So everything through the API is open. You can go to the developer link on our website. The developers communicate with one another through our FlexRadio community as well.
Another quick question. When will the firmware be released to permit operation over the WAN?
That is in our plan this year. We'll be working on that as soon as Maestro is shipping in full volume. And that is our top priority right now is Maestro. We have a huge backlog of Maestro. We've started shipping it to customers that are doing our alpha testing right now. Those have been going out every day to alpha testers. As soon as we're confident that the software is complete in its functionality, base functionality, we'll be shipping that, and then we'll be moving on to WAN support. Obviously, this device, Maestro, is well suited for WAN. It's WAN ready as we speak, and the main thing that we need to do is add the plug-and play capabilities for WAN, which includes how do you find your radio, how do you secure your radio, those kinds of things. How do you control all your peripherals in the shack from a remote location? Those are the kinds of things that we have to address in a total plug-and-play, it just works WAN solution.
So, Gerald, I picked out a few quick pictures here right before the show. Let me just pop through them here real quick, and if something pops up there that you'd like to talk about. Now, you were talking about the pixels earlier. Is this an example of what you were talking about?
Yeah, that's probably a 42-inch television screen if I'm looking at it right. I know which one that is. So you see 3 pan adapters with 42-inch on a 42-inch display. Those can be on different bands, different band widths, and you can see very high resolution signals, and those can be 30 frames a second or more. Or you can zoom in, you can zoom out to 14 megahertz for each pan adapter, or you can zoom in where each pixel is 1.5 hertz. So you have that wide zoom range.
Yeah, now, is this belong to you guys, or did I steal this off the internet?
That looks like some customer.
Yeah, it may be.
Yeah,
right.
They've got their own little display there. I'm not sure what that is. I can't read it very well.
I can't either. Okay.
But there's a good example so you can see the waterfall. In fact, the waterfall becomes a huge ally. Imagine the pileups that have occurred with some of these de-expeditions. I was watching one here before we came on the air, and I was watching, it was a sideband pileup, and you can see the entire pileup all at once, and you can see who the DX station is working, and you can see the ping pong back and forth, and you can actually scroll back in time on the waterfall. You grab the right-hand side of the waterfall, and you can scroll back in time, and it gives you the Zulu time, so that you can see exactly how the station worked over minutes or hours, for that matter. You were talking about recording earlier. We're actually recording every pixel in the waterfall, and you can go back in time.
So I think, do I see four receivers in this picture? Or?
You see, yes, you see 4 pan adapters. Mm-hmm. You see 4 receivers. We call them slice receivers. In the new direct sampling technology, what we're able to do is we can actually sample all of HF at one time, and then we can slice it up into individual receivers. In this case, 4 receivers. Now, why would you want to do that? Well, guess what? In the digital world, I can have multiple digital receivers on different bands chasing a DX station on RIDI, on multiple bands at once. Or in a contest, a RIDI contest, I could have 4 different receivers, or maybe more, maybe up to 8 on different bands, and just click to jump from band to band. So instant QSY between all those different RIDI receivers.
Kind of the multi-dimensional pan adapter perspective that I talked about, that fundamental change is so important.
Now, can you hear more than one band at a time, or is the audio just on one receiver?
You can mix all of the bands at once, or you can mute any one at any given time. Let me give you an example of that in contesting. If a single contester wants to win, they have to be doing something called single operator 2 radio. That means you're calling CQ on one band while you're search and pounce on another band. Well, believe it or not, you can do that with Maestro and a 6700 and nothing else. And you can bring up a second pan adapter, like I can click right there. I don't know if you can see it, but I brought up a second pan adapter that can be on another band. Let's say I go to 15 meters on that band. So now I don't have the antennas set up right now for the 2 bands, but I can be on 20 meters on the top and 15 meters on the bottom, simultaneously listening to both bands. I can be calling CQ on one band and literally tuning and listening on the other band for search and pounce if I have sufficient receiver antenna isolation, which means you need a little bit of room to do that. But you can actually be operating 2 bands at once in that kind of condition. So I can listen to both bands, and then or I can go solo on either band by just pushing one of the solo buttons.
All right. I guess that's what the radio looks like, the 6000.
Yep. That's a 6500, I believe, there.
Yeah, it is.
It's a 3U chassis, rack mountable, and it's basically a networked radio. You see an Ethernet connector on the lower left down there, and all of the microphone connectors, balanced microphone, RF connectors, and so forth. And that is a flex control. That's for the person that wants to operate with a PC. This is a USB control device that plugs into the PC and allows you to tune the PC client or the receiver with a knob. Instead, you can alternately do a knob or either use your mouse wheel, either one, or your click tune. So you have the options.
Yeah, well, I guess that we've already talked a little about that. Let's see. This is the 1500?
That's the Flex 1500, which is smaller than a loaf of bread. And you can plug it into a USB port, and it's a QRP SDR. It's been an extremely successful product for us. We kind of jokingly call it the gateway drug.
Yeah. So I think this is a 5-watt radio. Could a person actually run some type of amplifier with this and kind of get back up here with the big guys?
We have many people using it in there are a variety of 100-watt amps that can be connected to it. So yes, absolutely.
Now, the monitor doesn't come with it, does it?
No, you can use any standard PC monitor, your laptop. You can use like the Surface Pro, if you want to put everything in something that looks like a tablet.
Okay. I think we've gone through most of those. Let me come back to you there. Hey, there was a question in the chat room. Is there a tuner involved between the unit and the antenna? Does it have an auto tuner or anything?
The 6500 and 6700 come standard with an auto tuner. It's optional in the 6300.
Another question: why the 2.0 took a back seat to Maestro?
Good reason for that is that we've learned through working with a lot of hams over time is that they're a group of hams that want to have a tactile interface. They want to have physical controls. That's one thing that we learned, and especially in some of the contesting and DXing, people wanted to have a physical interface. And we didn't want to just stick knobs on a radio. We wanted something that actually could transition us into truly a wide area network world. And if you think about Maestro, it's designed with WAN in mind. Literally, I can carry this and drop it in my briefcase, and it works over Wi-Fi. It has built-in Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, or you can plug it in wired. I'm actually plugged in wired here, but I was using it across the house and took it out into the yard and actually was listening to my ham radio from the other side of the yard looking at my antenna. And so it's designed for that kind of capability. And so I would say probably the number one thing is that we wanted to be able to address the entire ham population, not just the ones that wanted to be sitting at a PC with a large screen. And so Maestro helps us to do that. And as a company, it's a strategic product for us. And it is a gateway into the wide area network, which they're talking about 2.0.
Is there any app out there, like for Android, that you could operate from a phone?
I will say, I mentioned the iPad app. You can run over VPN using Soft Ether. We have a lot of customers running our radio remote over Soft Ether, which is a free, downloadable, open source VPN, and you can run that from your iPad, or there are other devices that run the Open VPN protocol. And so we have many customers. In fact, we have a customer that brags about that he was in the Mediterranean running his station in California from an iPad. So those are happening today.
Yeah, I'm going to bring Frank back in here. I kind of took over there for a while. I had so many questions coming in. Hey, Frank, you've got a flex back there in the background, right?
Well, it's actually in your foreground.
Oh, okay.
What you're seeing behind me is what I call my receiving station.
I got you.
Some like to watch, others like to listen. I grew up listening. It took me a long time, as many hams did, to get actually licensed. So I follow the golden rule: listen first, talk later. Well, it took me 50 years to start talking.
Let me ask this question: have you ever had to call for tech support or anything on a flex? And then we'll turn that over to Gerald, and he can talk about his tech support and help desk.
Well, let me tell you, I have not. Now, I will say, being around, I've helped at least 50 companies in the computing industry, everything from writing EULAs, which is end-user license agreements, to actually funding them. What a lot of people don't know is Gerald spent part of his career basically as an angel investor, if you will. He was starting companies, before he accidentally started this one. But the key the reason I wanted Gerald to talk about it was that the key in changing from a PC-dependent device to a server meant that all those issues with the quick and rapid evolution of what's the fastest way to get the bus data off, that was so critical for this new era. And Gerald, correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the biggest niggling points that you had with customers, you never had it with me, why I followed your recommendations. I bought the right FireWire card that had the chipset and the cable that worked. So many customers, whether they realized it or not, would try to save a nickel. We hams tend to do that, don't we? Yeah. But yet they would wind up with a bad fit. And I'll bet you some giant share of your tech support, Gerald, was eaten up during the Flex 3000 and 5000 era with exactly that. But correct me if I'm wrong.
That is correct. It's the number one issue that we fought, was dealing with the various driver issues surrounding FireWire and getting that installed on different operating systems and different configurations, because not all PCs are the same either. The thing that's been beautiful about Ethernet is that you can't sell a PC that doesn't have working Ethernet. It just doesn't exist. And so all of those driver issues just suddenly disappeared. And so basically we plug into your router and it just plugs and plays. So that's been a real help to us from a support standpoint.
Well, Gerald, I want to speak for, now I build things, so I'm not confessing to be the so-called appliance operator, but let me say, all the appliance operators out in bars are raising a pint to you with your new device. It gives a new respect for the concept of appliance operator with your new 6,000 level. That's a little bit of a joke. Tom and Gerald, I want to make a point here. When I served for 5 years as a Delta Division official for the ARRL, I did some surveys. I've been a professional survey pollster. I've actually done political polls and things like that. In 2013, in the 4 Delta Division states, we asked about different technologies that amateur radio operators had. And for example, do you have APRS? Do you have D-Star? Do you have high-speed multimedia mesh? Do you have JT65? And so on and so on. Now, there's a famous sociologist who developed the adoption diffusion curve, Everett Rogers. Like me, studied rural communities. He at University of Illinois. And he found out that among farmers, if you came out with a better fertilizer or a better plow or a better anything, as extension agents tried to get those farmers to use the, sort of best practices, not everybody would comply. And so he developed this theory of the adoption diffusion curve. And it looks like a normal bell curve if you look at the life of a product, but it looks like an S curve or a sigmoid function if you're looking at the cumulative distribution. So what I did in that survey was we took some of, this does have an ending, by the way. We took some of those, took 7 technologies, and we sort of wanted to see where some of them fit in. Okay, APRS, Bob Bernenga, been around for a long time. Some 27% say they have APRS. Second, WinLink, 23% have WinLink communications technology, largely for MCOM and the other. And what's in third place at over 20%? Here in the Deep South. Well, we're a little slow sometimes, Gerald. Software-defined radio transceiver, not the little $20 dongle. We were surprised that the third most frequently adopted technology was SDR, followed by JT65, D-Star, 1.2 gigahertz transmission, and high-speed multimedia mesh. So just, for giggles, SDR has certainly become one of the more rapidly adopted innovations, perhaps in the history of amateur radio. I don't have the baseline data, but Gerald, are you surprised by those results?
Well, it's encouraging, but we've seen a tipping point. If you've ever heard of the book Tipping Point, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
We've seen a tipping point occurring literally in the last 9 months, I would say. It's amazing. It seems all of a sudden, and I actually have to say that Maestro's been part of that, because it's making it much more easier for the broad population to get their mind around. So I think that's been helping us, but it seems there's a tipping point. The way I know it is I do more listening on ham radio than I do talking these days. And as I listen, I can't listen a single session without hearing somebody talking about software-defined radios or even flex radio on the air.
Gerald, I would concur. I have a 46-inch Sony TV that's just above me in the rear. You probably won't see it on camera, but you'll see the bottom of it with the bright light. To me, the Shangri-La of listening is to put that SDR pan adapter up, prop my feet up. I have one of those stinking knobs, as you showed, and to tune around and just listen. And you've got point and click and that sort of thing. And that truly does allow someone to explore the bands. What I hear is if you get on the rag chewing segments, I repeatedly hear, oh, look, you need to do this to your microphone. Let me play that back for you on my Flex.
Yeah.
And there's a whole lot of audio, which is kind of good, and it kind of helps people. Sometimes they're messing with people who buy a new mic, and you keep telling them it's terrible sounding. But you do see that kind of cultural tipping point indicated there. I certainly see it as well. Tom, you're up in the greater Memphis area. What's SDR like up in your neck of the woods? Memphis is when you get behind Chicago, New York, LA, and Miami, Memphis is in that second tier of large metropolitan areas. So you're in the big city, Tom.
Well, hey, I haven't got my Flex yet. Kathy, I'd like a Flex for Christmas or maybe my birthday. I got a birthday coming up February 12th, guys.
Well, what we like to say here is be flexible.
Yeah. So, hey, I know of several people around have it. I haven't kept up with the technology a whole lot, but man, it's starting to get exciting. And what I'm hearing here, and hey, at Dayton, I see it every year. Our booth is right across from Flex, and I see that over there every year. And if Kathy will go down to the concession stand for about 30 minutes this year, maybe I'll scoot across there to Flex and pick me up one.
Hey, Tom.
Yeah.
I got a secret.
What?
If you come to me for 5 minutes, get on your computer and order one online. No one has to know but you and your credit card company.
Hey, she just told me that she'd buy me one if I want it. So there it is. She's really nice. Hey, I get all the radios I need. Hey, every time I get a new radio, she asks if I'm going to get rid of an old one. Now, what's a ham going to say about that? Oh man.
Well, I will say this: every radio I've gotten rid of, I've regretted it.
I wish I'd kept some of my old stuff from the 60s, Hey,
listen, I want to follow up real quick since you talked about the Flex 1500, and Gerald said what a good seller. I suspect that's why it's still in the lineup, and that older generation, the 3000 to 5000, is not. Still love them a 3000. But it's because that's the QRP rig. Gerald, you may not be able to answer this fully, and I think we can all respect that. There are some secrets that companies need to keep. But one of the things that's happened, you've been listening to very successful, I hate to call them big time, but you've been listening to very successful contesters, and it's great because you're getting the mindset of your users into your development cycle. Okay. Now, partly because of the accentuation of the big guns, as they're called, in the contest. There are a lot of people feel like, me and my little VW bus just can't get on the drag strip and keep up. So partly as a result of that, QRP is growing as kind of a practice and a niche of the hobby that is just going gangbusters. Our friends over in Huntsville, Craig Behrens, who's former QRP quarterly editor, they have, the 4 days in May, they have the 2 days in August, and they have a QRP working group. And they actually created a product 2 years ago that's now on the market. Here's for the punchline. When's Flex going to come up with the Elecraft KX3 Killer, the next version of the Flex 1500?
Well, we wouldn't talk about that if at this point. So
hence my introduction. But are there plans for other QRP rigs in your product line? That's a fair question.
I really have to say that we would not pre-announce any products that until an appropriate time. So I can't talk about that. Sorry.
Sure. He can't confirm or deny.
This is why this man is successful, because he understands business. It's like Martin Jew would say when he's asked, are you going to do something to replace the 269C? And his response is, why would I tell you that? Because you'll quit buying the 269C if I do.
Yeah. All right. Well, look. Hey, man, there's so much to talk about here, but I did post a phone number, guys. I did correct it. The first 10 seconds, I had the phone number wrong. That's a new number. We've re-engineered things. Got a new number. We've taken that terrible ring off that breaks all your speakers. So if anybody would like to call in with a question, you can try that number there. And for our shortwave listeners, if you'd like to call in, it's 901-286-1116.
I have to plug in my laptop. Hold on.
Okay.
Tom, I'll fill in a little bit here. Behind me, I've got the venerable Drake R8A, and it's tuned to 5110. And periodically, when I'm kind of off camera, I'll turn my mixer pot up just to see how that's coming. We've got a lot of thunderstorms here, and on my Wellbrook loop, I can faintly hear it. However, I've got just a little bit, static there, but it's alive and well, and loving my new Drake. I inherited a 30-pound portable radio that was broken, but it's a collector's item, so I knew I would not repair it and I would not keep it. So I traded it for a radio I wanted to have in my shack for a long time, a Drake R8 radio. So I am listening to, I have BCQ on 5110, so I hope our other listeners are listening. And I guess our new number, right, Tom, is 901-286-1116.
Yeah, we got somebody on the line right now. Let's see,
right.
Who we got on the line?
Yes. Well, who else would it be? It's Jeff.
Oh, hey, Jeff, N3VE, right? Jeff.
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
Berry Hill, New Jersey. Good. I just want to make sure Gerald's around because he's the one I want to ask the question to. I know my video is kind of lagging my audio. Is he available?
Yeah, he's listening. He's right here.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Gerald, and I love my Flex 6700, and your answer to the question as to why the 2.0's lagging behind the Maestro, it just bothers me a little bit as a signature owner. You had my $7,000 for at least a year with these promises of the software development, and I would just like a comment on that. I mean, I understand, a new product coming out, you need capital. Just give me a little comment on that.
Well, I think that as a business person, you have to look every day at what is the most important thing to be doing for the largest population of your customers so that you sell the most product that pays for the engineering that writes the software. In Austin, Texas, engineers are not inexpensive to pay their salaries. And so we have to do what we believe is the right thing in the right order for the right reasons. If we could snap our fingers and do everything in parallel, that would be wonderful. But ham radio is a very small market, total worldwide. And so we have to make the hard choices as to where do we put our finite resources. And so in looking at those every day, we make those decisions. And so in every case, we've had other things that have come ahead of that. I can say that it's coming up soon now as we get Maestro out the door. Wide area networking will pop to the top. But it's simply a business decision that says you do the right things in the right order for the right reasons, and that doesn't always suit everybody, but you have to do what you can to do the best to suit the most people.
Okay, well, I can't wait for my Maestro, and I put a deposit on it at Dayton last year. We've spoke a few times at Dayton. But the next question would be is how does the software upgrades work for, say, the signature owners? So we're promised 2.0 without any additional charge for software. Is that correct?
That's correct. If you were early, the limited edition version, yes.
Correct. Right. And now how does that work for people that are purchasing today?
We're still continuing to upgrade radios with 1.x. So people purchasing today would be the same as people purchasing a year ago. And
then what will be the charge for when 2.0 comes out for the new owner?
The expected charge would be $199. And there'll be much more, we plan to do much more than just wide area networking.
Oh, and I understand that, and I appreciate it. And I didn't want to. I had to put you on the spot because I needed the answers to those questions. There was a lot of people in the chat room asking the same thing. From the people that originally put up, a good bit of cash before, and waiting a year before they got their radio. So it's been quite a while since we've received our radios, and still waiting for wide area network. Do appreciate it. Can't wait for the Maestro, and can't wait for 2.0. So. Thanks for answering my questions, Gerald. I appreciate it. See you in date.
Sure.
Hey, thanks, Jeff. Maybe we'll see you on Hangout after the show here if you're still up.
Right, Gerald,
cool.
let me chime in since I put you on the spot just before that. That's also one of the reasons that you hesitate pre-announcing new stuff, is that you build up an expectation set in your customer base and potential customer base. And sometimes, you have to make those decisions to make things work. I mean, that's just what it comes down to.
Yeah, simply, we felt it was more important to have solid baseline radio across the board, and that's the right things to do in the right order.
Well, it's a little like Christmas tree. You don't have tree branches, you don't need ornaments, right?
Yeah.
All right, the phone's still open, 901-286-1116, for anyone else that'd like to have a call. I know we took a lot of questions through the chat room, but anybody like to call in?
While we're doing that, Tom, if I might, let me throw that curveball. My arm's getting kind of warm. I'm ready to pitch that.
All right,
Gerald, we talked about kind of revolution in amateur radio, and it's not all been sweetness and light. Some of what we've had is we've had the rise of maybe more malicious interference. I think everybody who's ever been on 20 meters and has listened to 14.313, they know the kind of travesty from at least one ham in our Canadian neighborhood. We've had other people who, report making enemies and they get keyed up on and so on and so on. Let me throw a wild idea at you. Tell us briefly about your commercial product that's basically a rack mount set of SDRs. Tell us a little bit about what that is, and I want to come back with a follow-up and a potential use for that, and you can tell me whether that's viable or not.
Are you talking about the multi-receiver?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's more of a commercial rack mount.
Yeah, it's actually we built. You know what the Flex 5000 is? If you can imagine 32 Flex 5000 receivers in a 7U chassis that are all synchronous to a single clock and all 32 tuned together and can be on different antennas, that's what we built. And it all streams out of a gigabit Ethernet port. And so I can't go into all of the details of how that's used, but
I understand. I've been involved in similar work myself.
But you can imagine that when you do that kind of thing and stream all those receivers over a gigabit Ethernet port using something called Vita or Vita 49, depending on how you pronounce it, that actually led to the work that we've done in the Flex 6000 series. Some of the commercial work we did, we were able to apply it directly into the ham radio world. I think this goes back a little bit too. I want to go back and comment on the previous caller's comment. I think very few people appreciate the amount of software development work that goes into a radio of this type, and it never ends. And so what we've done is we've invested heavily in an architecture that has a long-term plan. And we could have done things more quickly had we not invested in that architecture. But when you have an architecture like we have that's a networked server radio, it allows you to do things that you never imagined you could do before. And some of those things might actually come from things like you just mentioned, referred to in the future. I'm not going to comment on what might and might not be because somebody might
Sure.
hold me to it. So
Sure. Well, Gerald, the commercial one, is that available, hypothetically, is that available for purchase from you? If I had a company and I needed something like that, is that something you could sell to me?
Under the right conditions, I'll put it.
Okay. Well, here's where I'm going. One of our problems with malicious interference in the ham is if you just took 80, primarily 75 phone, 40 and 20 as bands where you kind of have that, have this culture of 17 being the gentleman's band, et cetera, et cetera. Let's just take those three bands. Now, what if we had one or more of those receivers installed around the U.S.? Let's just say three, one in the middle, one on each coast. And we had some sort of three band antennas. And we had a big pool of storage. And so we had a running flow of the RF data that were flowing into a storage unit. Now, the American Radio Relay League has this
official observer
patronly relationship with the FCC. Look, you guys police yourself because we got other fish to fry, okay? So the league is they have this program called Official Observer, as Tom said. Well, Official Observer is one of my good friends here, Thomas Gandy, N5WDG, is an RF engineer with the cellular company, and he's an OO, and he's busy, and he listens when he can, but the reality is that the OOs sometimes hear a lot of this stuff. When they hear it, okay, some unknown transmitter's keying up. But what if there was these three receivers, and I'm just making that up arbitrarily, where the OOs could then review those data, those information, find people who are passing the so-called speed limit of proper amateur behavior. Now we've cut down the potential data space to a few of the bad guys. Then we've got these $400 radio defection finder sets that the ARL might supply key OOs. Then we narrow it down and we find it's that nefarious KUB in Collierville, Tennessee. That Tom Medlin is just misbehaving. And he's got this guy down here in Ridgeland, Frank, K4FMH, he's keying up every time he's doing that and all this. And suddenly we've got a little forensic evidence where we can show it's coming from the perpetrator's location. The OOs can then hand that to the FCC. You've cut down their homework time, and then they can drop the hammer, and we might be able to clean up some of this stuff. Now, is that like the Star Wars initiative back under President Reagan, SDI, Pie in the Sky, and Dreamland? Or could something like that possibly work?
It's absolutely technically feasible, and it's technically feasible with the hardware that we make. It would require software development potentially on top of that to do specific things, depending on what you wanted to do. But yeah, it's feasible, absolutely feasible.
Great. Sometimes you have these ideas in the shower. You just never know whether you're just all wet or there's really something there. So hopefully I've given some of our callers a little fill time to get their number out, 901-286-1116, to ask Gerald Youngblood some questions. And I'm glad to know that you feel like, at least from that broad architectural point of view, that's it possible, because I'm afraid that it's going to take something like that to begin to help us police HF. And we don't even get into the 2-meter and repeater scene, but this is part of what's come out of what you've done on your kitchen table.
Well, tell you, we have discussed so much tonight about this, and it can probably go on for hours more. We've been at it about an hour now. let me ask Gerald. Gerald, is there anything else you'd like to just say that we haven't covered yet? And we'll try to close up this portion of the show, and then we're going to still continue, and we'll have people on Hangout come in, and they'll probably be talking Flex tonight. So you don't have to leave us, but we're going to move on in just a couple minutes to another segment. So what's else is going on there, Gerald? What are your big plans, and where are you going to be next? And I guess we'll see you in Dayton next.
Well, actually, coming up next week, we head off to Orlando Hamcation, which has become probably the second largest ham radio show in the U.S. It's amazing the growth that's occurred there. So we'll have a 40-foot length booth. We'll have, I guess, a half dozen Maestros in the booth. We'll have 4 where you can sit down and operate them or listen to them. And we'll probably even walk around with one Wi-Fi around the arena there. And so that'll be a lot of fun. We're planning to have a hospitality suite during Hamcation. I can't remember the night. We'll be announcing that through our communications channel. So hopefully we'll see a lot of you. We have people that will be at Frost Fest this weekend. The weekend after Orlando, we'll be in Yuma, Arizona. Some of our folks will be there. We'll be doing a lot of DX and contest clubs. Speaking, I think Steve Hicks is up in the Dallas area for a contest club this weekend. And so we'll be doing a lot of face-to-face things coming up. Maestro, as I said, is a real high focus of ours. We are in production now, hardware production. What you see behind me is a production unit. The main thing is that we're finishing up the final touches on the user interface software that goes with that.
Is W4TME with you guys?
Yes, he is.
He's in a chat room. He said you guys will be in Richmond this weekend.
That's right. Tim will be there representing us in Richmond.
Yeah, I think we got a caller on the line. Who we have on the line?
Hi, this is Juan, WA6HTP. I have a question for Gerald.
Hi, Juan.
Go ahead.
Hi, Gerald.
Hey there.
I have a 6700, and I am very, very impressed with the performance. I got curious about how accurate your dBm scale was, so I took my signal generator and put it in there, and I was surprised to find out it's just as good as my HP spectrum analyzer. So I got to thinking, one of the features I'd love to see is a peak hold, so that, for example, you could set up and look at the entire 2-meter spectrum, let your radio sit there over the weekend and capture all the activity on 2 meters, and then it would be nice if you could just go from one signal to the other, click on it, get the exact frequency, and sort of figure out where all the activity was. Is there anything like that in the future that would make the receiver act more like a spectrum analyzer?
Well, the fact that I just heard that Tim is on the line with us, he's the right guy to put that into the feature request system. So hopefully he'll grab that and put it in the system. What I can say is that's a feature that a lot of us would like to have there. There are literally thousands of ideas and interesting things that we can do and will do over time. And so I'm sure Tim will put that in the system, and that over time we'll add more and more features. The one thing that we have to do is we have to make choices, like I said earlier, about where we spend our engineering resources. So I can't promise when a certain feature might be available and where. I will say there's another thing that we have to consider is that when you look at the broad ham population, there's some features that are essential to some hams, and others don't even want to see those features in their way. It gets in their way and confuses them. So one of our challenges is to make a complex thing extremely simple. And that's what we try to do with Smart SDR, is take a complex capability and make it simple. In fact, we have a manual for the radio, and you really, once you use it, you probably appreciate it, that you don't really have to go back to the manual. So there's always a trade-off about how you put things into the graphical user interface and how you make those available to people. So that's a long way to say that those features are desirable. We just have to determine how to get them in and when.
And Tim in the chat room says that feature is an existing feature request.
So he's not the first one to bring it up.
Yeah, the Smart SDR is a long-term committed platform for FlexRadio. It's a multi-radio, long-term, multi-client committed platform. So there will be features that you and I haven't even thought of or even thought possible that will come in Smart SDR over time. It's a different way of thinking of radio.
All right, Juan, thank you. Anything else you have?
No, other than the fact that I'm about the same age as you are, and a friend of mine, WA6DNR, and I both bought Flexes at the same time, and we agree that this is probably the last radio that we'll ever need. We'll be busy for the rest of our lives learning how to use the Flex 6700 because it has such capability. So thank you, Gerald. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys at the Visalia DX meeting that's coming up.
I will be there, so come shake my hand.
Thanks again. Looking forward to it.
All right, Juan, thank you. Okay, anybody else want to call in? 901-286-1116. And just let me ask the chat room, how do you like our new phone lines now that doesn't blow your speaker out? Or like last time we used it, Glenn Popel's cat got scared when the phone rang and it threw all his radios in the floor. So anyway, I don't think you're hearing the ring now. So that's I think
Tom,
we made improvement. Yeah.
Hey, listen, I want to answer the question. Nobody, I guess, in the chat room could answer. Where's Gerald from? He's not a native Texan.
They got it. One guess was Texas. The other guess was Mississippi.
You bet. The one in Mississippi is the winner. Winner, right. Chicken dinner. He's a native of Mississippi.
Now, did you get Gerald to agree to give a 6,000 prize for that answer?
No, I did not.
Okay.
In fact, I think that's public information. So I doubt he's going to. He's not going to tell us his future secrets about what's coming out. Why would he donate something like that for something that's publicly known?
All right. 901-286-1116. We'll stand by for maybe one or two more calls here. Anybody? There's been a lot of discussion in the chat room about this product, and people are actually answering their questions. One question someone had was, is Flex just, is it digital only or does it do sidebands? Well, of course, the answer is it's a sideband transceiver. So people are learning. People, I guess, that haven't heard anything about it or know anything about it are starting to get a little bit more information about it.
Well, Tom, one little parsing of that question is Gerald needs to tell us a little bit about what some of the new digital modes that the Flex radios will do because of some software implementation. Gerald, what are some new things? What's that dog doing in terms of new tricks?
Well, let me start with the old tricks. It's interesting to be asked, will it do sideband? It will do all modes. In fact, it's an extremely popular AM transceiver. You can't, we have a lot of people that use it on AM and they say it sounds like the old big iron broadcast transmitters because you can do very high fidelity transmission with it.
It's got a clean signal.
Yeah, so you could literally make it a broadcast station if you wanted to.
Will it go on the broadcast band?
We prevent it from going into the broadcast.
But I'm sure there's probably a solder, short, something you remove and it opens it up, right?
Well, it's a little more complex than that.
Yeah. Okay.
But back to the digital mode. So because this is a software-defined radio, you can literally make it do any mode that exists as long as you have the bandwidth. I mean, it's all math, and all modes are mathematically derived. So D-Star is the latest mode that we added to it. We had previously added FreeDV, or Codec 2, as a mode. FreeDV, you can download the software onto your PC and upload it into the radio as a new mode, as a waveform, as we call it. There's a dongle, I think it's called DV, that you plug in to the USB port on the back of the radio, and when you do that, suddenly you have D-Star mode on HF or including VHF on the 6700. Or if you have transverters, you can do it on any band. And we just added that a few months ago. And the dongle is capable of doing other modes. So if there are other popular modes that come along, there might be capabilities to support some of those modes as well.
All right. Gerald, we talked about this in late November, but I had a chance to discuss it directly with Chris Wilson of Yaesu. He was here for the Capital City Hamfest, and Tom and I had spent some time with him, and I had dinner with him with the board of a local or state intertie group. And I've kind of brought this to his attention, as they roll out their new technology with C4FM. I've mentioned that, that would be a good thing for them to communicate with Flex Radio about, as for getting C4FM. Is that, part of it's a no-brainer. They've been doing these deep discounts of about 1/3 of the retail price on their repeaters. So they're flooding the market that way, and they're selling the transceivers. So getting that capability into your line of rigs would be a real plus for them as well, I would think. So expect a call.
All right. Well, hey, the chat room's already told us. Somebody said you cut the green wire. That's the only mod required. And hey, just Gerald, real quick. What do you think about your competition there? The questions come up about Apache Labs. How do you think that's going to affect you guys?
Apache Labs. There's a group of amateurs, experimenters that spun out of our early users called HPSDR. Originally, Flex Radio was focused on the experimenter part of the ham radio community, but as we expanded our market to more pragmatic customers, we could no longer support those experimenters, and so that was taken over by a group that became named as Open HPSDR. And they developed a set of, they took our Power SDR software and then modified it and built a set of boards, open source boards that they provided to other amateurs. And so that was the genesis of what, there's an Indian company, Apache Labs, that took those open source boards and put them into a package, a box, and uses the open source Power SDR for that. So it's we see it mainly in the experimenter space.
Well, all right, it's 9:20 here, 10:20 on the East Coast. We're gonna try to move on here in just a second. And Gerald, if you want to stick around, please do, and join us. And hey, we hope you join us every Tuesday night. I bet you we have questions every Tuesday night for you.
I just had a thought. Would you like to see how my radio is racked in my 6000?
Yes, I brought that up. He has a unique home shack.
Yeah, I'm going to have to pick up the PC here, and hopefully I don't knock anything over, and I'll see if I can walk over here. So I have a built-in, let's see if I can get down here, and you can see can you see it?
I see it.
Yes.
It's in a 12U rack on rollers that I can just, I hope you can see the radio and power supply.
Yeah, we do.
Yep.
And so I have the blue lighted thing is a Station Genius from 403A, and it's tied over Ethernet to the radio, so it senses the band that I'm on. and so you can see the Maestro there.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I can be across the house and change the band with the Maestro, and the antenna follows the frequency.
Now, the Maestro can work wireless, right?
That's correct.
Wi-Fi, yeah.
It's got a dual band Wi-Fi in it, so you can work on 2 gigahertz or 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi, or you can plug in. Right now, I have it plugged in with an Ethernet cable, because if you're going to be operating at the station, it gives you you don't have to share the band with the other Wi-Fi routers.
Sure, but you can take that Maestro out to the pool now and work at Wi-Fi back and
that's correct.
Your
you can plug in a microphone or a key or whatever and operate from the back porch or the pool.
One question is, what kind of batteries do you use? I happen to know the answer, but it's an interesting answer.
Yeah, it uses cell phone charger batteries. They're about the size of a cell phone. And it's amazing, the lithium polymer or lithium ion batteries, you can get 10 amp hour batteries the size of a cell phone. And so that plugs into USB cables. There's I can turn it around here, and there's hopefully you can see it there. There's a battery. I don't have the battery in it, but there's a battery compartment. Can you see it there?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
And there are USB connectors that you plug the battery into. So it's just a standard off-the-shelf battery charger that you can get, on Amazon or go to your local Best Buy store.
Well, these small batteries nowadays pack a lot of power, and let me tell you, I've been in electronics and professionally in that field for almost 60 years, and I exploded my first lithium battery in the shack here last year. It was not a fun thing, believe me.
You don't want to do that. Let me bring it up close. You can see all the connectors on the back. Can you see that?
We do.
Yes.
Let's see. I turn it so you can see. I've got 2 microphone connectors at the bottom. I've got by the way, you noticed I unplugged it. It actually relogged in through Wi-Fi. I unplugged the cable. It recognized the cable went away and just logged in via Wi-Fi.
Yeah, great.
So anyway, you can plug in a microphone, headphones, speaker, external speaker. It has a built-in speaker right here, 2-watt speaker. You can see hopefully you can see some of the controls there. I'll try to hold it still.
So how long does the battery last?
It depends on the amp hours, but let's say 4 to 6 hours, something in that range.
Okay.
And that's one of the byproducts of going to the thin client model. You don't have a battery hogging transmitter in that box, as you might kind of many portable boxes. So once you've gone to the thin client model, then there's a lot of good things that are part of that cascading effect.
That's right. And, I was just holding a radio with nothing attached, no wires attached to it, that's attached to a beam on top of my house. If you think about the implications of that, I've got a beam on top of my house, and I can walk around the house and play radio anywhere in the house. So
we've got a caller. Who's on the phone?
Bob McGuire, N4HY.
Oh, my goodness.
4HY. Bob.
I know Bob. Hey, Bob.
Hey, Gerald. I came in a little late because I had an AMSAT board of directors meeting tonight, but I'm very happy to join you.
Well, I got to say that Bob is one of the key contributors to Flex Radio over the years. He was one of the first people to call me back in 2003 when I had written the articles and first said that I was going to be selling these radios. And Bob was one of the first people to call me, and he is one of the software architects on what was DSP that became the DSP software in PowersDR. So Bob's a longtime friend and spent many, many days here writing code at my house when the company was at the house. So really appreciate his contribution to Flex Radio and to ham radio in general.
So, and Bob, where are you located?
I'm in Elliston, Virginia. I'm on the faculty at Virginia Tech.
Oh, okay. All right. Great. Very good. All right. Anything else there for Gerald?
Well, Gerald and I are about to do a lot of business together. But we're back into business with the United States government again. So I'll be visiting Gerald in Austin and working on the code again for the smart SDR, and it's almost back to the same good old days.
All right. Well, sounds good, and thanks for calling in, Bob. And let's see. They want to know what's the minimum they can get started with the Flex Radio. I guess that would be the Flex 1500. What would it cost them?
1500 is the entry level.
And that's roughly what, $600?
It's about $650. Yeah.
And you have to provide a computer or just the monitor?
With the 1500, you would plug it in by USB port to a laptop or to your PC.
Okay, all right. So they need a PC and $650.
There are a lot of people who travel that take a laptop, that rig, and some kind of antenna, and they are happy campers. If you got a decent laptop, you don't really have any stuttering. It's a very stable rig.
All right, so let's see. I don't know if Bob's still on the phone. Or Bobby still there? Okay, I think he's gone. All right. Any other calls? One last time, 901-286-1116.
Gerald, we have really enjoyed this evening, and it's been my first time on the show. I started Saturday with Tom down in Jackson. We did some stand-up interviews and things, and I'm personally delighted that we were able to have you on my first show. I'm a big fan, not just of Flex Radio, but of your career. And what a lot of people don't quite realize, you were in the business of being a kingmaker to others who were starting business. And I suspect that has taught you many good do's and many good don'ts in running and building Flex Radio.
Oh, yeah. It was a good learning ground, and it's been fun in ham radio because in my previous career, in every case, I had investors, and investors have their own agendas, and it's been fun not to have that overhead of having to please that set of folks and just focus on trying to do the best you can for your customers. And we really do this because we love it. Almost everybody in our company is a ham now, even the youngsters that are just out of college. And so we've got some bright young software engineers that are on our software team, and they've all gotten their ham licenses, and we're really proud of what they're doing. Listen, it takes a team. It's not just me.
You know, and one neat thing in here in Jackson, there is a Honda dealership that is a family business. The daughter of the creator and originator of that dealership, and they advertise together and what have you. And the reason I bring that up is I wanted you to kind of talk about for just a moment as we begin to close things out. What's it like to build a business but have your some of your family in it with you?
Well, it's interesting. I never would have advised people back when I was in the venture capital business. I would have never advised them to have a family business, and it was truly accidental that occurred. But I have to say it's been really enjoyable because we get along well. That kind of helps a lot. And so we've really enjoyed working together. It wasn't planned that way, but it's worked out great. It really has worked out great. We have there are 3 of us in the business now that are in the same family, and they're our VP of engineering. His wife also does our marketing, so we've got some family connections more than just our family. But we all work really well together. We have a great team, and it's really fun to see a lot of our dreams come into fruition now.
Well, you know, Gerald, it's sounds like a great company, and it's a great product, and we're going to be seeing you again soon. Probably next time you and I see each other, will be in Dayton.
Yep.
People were asking if you're going to have a booth there again this year. I'm sure you are. And if they watch our show every year, they see that you're right across from us. So they see you guys probably 80% of our whole webcast. So we'll see you up there at Dayton, and I think we'll see you in Huntsville. Good luck down in Orlando.
Yeah, we'll definitely see you there. In fact, we're expanding our size again this year in Dayton.
All right, well, very good. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. We really enjoyed it. We had a lot of participation in the chat room, and we would love to have you on here again sometime.
Hey, there's one final thing that I think we forgot, and Gerald, I hope you're still on for this. Who you got in the chat room, Tom?
Who?
Yeah, like how many people you got in the chat room right now?
You know, I saw maybe 105 people or so. 100. What was that, Kathy? Maybe 107.
I want you to pick one.
Pick one. You want to pick one? All right. I'm gonna pick Raul Gomez.
Listen.
No, I made that up. I made that name up.
How about sending Mr. Gomez a Flex cap from Flex Radio Systems, Gerald?
Yeah. Send me his info, and we'll do that.
Well, wait, there is no Raul Gomez. I made that up. Let's.
Hey.
Okay, I tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna close my eyes. I'm gonna close.
If you get a name that says Gomez and Collierville, we know what's happened
all right,
here. Gerald.
I'm closing my eyes, and I'm gonna put the mouse right there. I'm gonna pick one. I got K2CB, K2 Charlie Baker.
Okay, send me that, Frank, and we'll make sure he gets a hat.
Yeah, you better make sure I
Baker.
send it to you because it may go to Collierville otherwise.
Yeah.
K2CB.
K2 Charlie Baker, you just won a Flex hat, man. And I don't even have a Flex hat. I'll come over to y'all's booth when I get up here, Gerald, and I'll pick up a Flex and like I said, if Kathy goes to the concession stand, maybe pick up a radio. All right, Gerald 73, thanks a lot so much. We want to have you back on here again soon. There's so much to discuss, and there was so much interest here. It was an amazing show tonight. Thank you very, very much.
73, Gerald.
Thanks, 73.
All right, so, okay. Boy, I think that was a great show tonight with Gerald Youngblood, the founder and the president and CEO of FlexRadio Systems. Let's see. W4BSB wants it. He didn't get it, though. Here's another guy wanting to pay the shipment. Everybody wants, Frank, everybody wants a hat.
Well, that's just one of those things that you get when you tune in to Amateur Radio Roundtable.
Yeah, well, hey, and you know what? I've been thinking about, at some point as we get organized, we're going to try to do some prizes on the show for people, and they may not be cheap things either. We're thinking about some pretty good prizes.
Listen, we've got some prizes in our warehouse scheduled for giveaway, and they're coming.
Yeah, one of those is a pretty nice prize.
Oh, you bet.
Yeah, I know what it is. Well, all right. Hey, Frank, we normally go into a segment. It's very after this, we go into a segment called our hangout segment, or it just allows anybody to come in and join the show. We can have up to 10 videos at the same time. And man, we talk about everything. You would not believe what the subjects that come up. It gets pretty interesting. And I leave the webcast up, so if you guys aren't able to dial into Hangout, you can still watch and interact with us in the chat room. So I'm going to go ahead. Let's see, Frank. Frank, the problem I've got here is you're on the system that I use for Hangout. I'm going to have to cut you off, Frank.
Look, I've got an XYL who is kind of waiting on my company. So why don't I bail out of it this evening? But the next time I'm on, you cue me up on a place where I can hang out, and I'll do it.
Okay.
Tom, thank you so much for inviting me to co-host. I'm looking forward to it and looking forward to helping build Amateur Radio Roundtable. So it's a place where people enjoy coming and finding out about amateur radio.
somebody just logged in as Gomez, and they want to know if he's Raul. Okay. 73 Frank, enjoyed having you on the show tonight. I think it was a great show, and we'll talk tomorrow or sometime. I'm going to go ahead and get on Hangout now. I think people are actually calling in to Hangout, so we're going to have
7-3 to all of you, 7-3, and hey, glad to have you aboard, and I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, we're going to have some fun here on Hangout. 73. All right, let's see what we can do here. Let's see. Boy, there's just so many buttons you have to click on, for computers and everything. Let's see what we got here. Oh, we got a few people in here. Let's see. Oh, gee, that was loud. I'm not sure what's happening here. Let me show you guys what we got going here. I see William. Let's see. Can you guys hear me now? Can you guys hear me? Jeff, can you hear me? Oh, wait a minute. Hello, test 1 2. All right, I don't know what happened, people. Jeff, are you hearing me? Jeff's not hearing me. How about William? You hear me, William? Can you hear me? You can hear me. I can't hear you. Why can I not hear you? Say something. You guys are pranking me, aren't you? You guys got together before the show, and you said let's just move our mouth and make Tom think the audio's not coming through. Now Jill just came on. Jill, are you there? Come on, Jill. Say something. All right, I'm gonna have to dial back in because I have absolutely no audio. I'm gonna dial back in. All right. Hello. You know what? I heard the first word. Let's see. This is very interesting. I heard the first word and then it quit. The audio quit. So let's see. Speaker. I don't know what speaker I'm using. There we go. Are you there? All right, so let's see. Can you hear me now? Okay, I hear you. I hear you too. Okay, now let me see what I can do to make you guys' picture look a little bit more presentable for the webcast here. Well, I mean, you guys have big heads, but not you got big heads, but not that big. Okay, I got you in there. Okay. All right, we got the cigars lit up tonight. Let's see. Yeah, we're there. There we.
I've been in the hangout here for like a half an hour, and Bill was the first one that popped in, and I'm surprised there's no one else. I mean, FlexRadio was a great show you had tonight.
Yeah, I thought it. I thought it went well. It's just there's so much to talk about. I'm sure that we didn't get on all the different subjects that we could have. Maybe we need to do another one sometime. And man, I keep losing my earphones here. My audio's low. Well, I wasn't talking too close to the mic here. It's probably better there. Let me see if I can get my picture in here. There we go. All right. So where's Doc Doc with his cigar tonight? Oh, you know what? I left the stream on. Oh man, I left the stream running a lot higher than I normally do. Was the quality pretty good tonight? The picture?
Yeah, it was great. Well, I mean, it was okay. I don't know what you mean was all right. I mean.
Well, the quality. I'm for our show we usually stream about 1,800 kilobits per second, but I think I was streaming at 2,500 tonight, probably, or 2,800. Let me see if I can see what.
I thought Gerald. I mean, I thought your guest's audio, the video was not very clear, but I don't know.
Let's see.
That's just on my end.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? We're still streaming the same here because this is not what I used to stream the Hamfest with. I streamed the Hamfest off a laptop. Therefore, the encoding speed was set differently there. So, okay. All right. Well, anyway. Well, hey, Skype connections, and I thought it came out fair. It may have not been high def quality. Let's see. So what's going on in the chat room? Kurt's up there in New Jersey. He's lighting his pipe. He always smokes with you guys every Tuesday night. Kurt is up in New Jersey.
Yeah, well, what's in the pipe?
Well, Kurt, what's in the pipe there?
Depends on which state he's in.
Okay,
New Jersey, I think it's legal, medically approved. So.
Kathy, will you send a link out for the chat for the hangout? The hangout link is at above. It's in the topic above the chat room. Okay, so Kurt says no audio from the other guys. Hey, you other guys, say something.
Test 1, 2. 1, 2.
That's right. There is no audio. Hang on. Why not? Let me check something. Let me look at the. Let's see, speakers. You know what? I need to use that.
I'll be back in 30 seconds. There you go. That's working.
Yeah, things are much better now, I think. All right, kid. Test 1, 2, 3. All right, let me turn my mic back up. Okay, now, where'd everybody go?
Jeff stepped out for a second.
Okay, man. See, here's my problem. I took this laptop that I'm using for Hangout, and I took it, and we used it to stream the Jackson, Mississippi Hamfest, and all the settings were changed, all the microphone inputs and the speaker outputs, and all that stuff. So,
yeah, for
Hangout, it wasn't. Well, I gotta watch this next time. Anyway, we're back on, so they're hearing you now, and I was expecting Doc here to join us.
Yeah, must have my smoking buddy.
Yeah. All right. Well, Jill said she's having trouble getting the Hangout. Now, Jill, you were in the Hangout a minute ago, so just try it again. I don't know what the problem is. The link is at the top of the chat room.
Yeah, she got in here before. She just didn't have any audio or anything.
I just sent the link again.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Maybe she'll click on it there and join us. Oh, man, I like it. Radio in the background here, Jeff.
Well, I told you what you need to do to get into my will.
Yeah. What was that? Get you? Wait a minute. Let me think. I've already forgot what it was.
I'll email you.
I was supposed to get you something. I forget what it was.
It's not a big deal.
Well, what was it? What was it? I've already forgot.
Oh, I want to help. I want you to get me 2 arena tickets. I'll pay for them.
Oh, 2 arena tickets.
Yeah, and I'll help.
That's right.
Oh, tear down and stuff.
Now, does that guarantee me to get in the wheel for the Flex there?
Oh, why not?
Oh, okay. All right. You must not have any other friends or anything there. Right? Yeah.
Oh man. I do, but you want the Flex when I pass away, you can have it.
All right, very good. Yeah, what about that? What about?
I gotta tell you, I love my Flex radio.
What about?
I wasn't trying to give Gerald a hard time at all. There were some questions that I think were asked in the chat room tonight that needed to be answered about the version 2.0 that was promised. Well, as part of when you purchased the Signature Series and gave $7,000 or $5,000 to Flex Radio more than a year before they delivered the hardware to you, and I'll still get that, but it's been almost 3 years. And then they came out last year with this Maestro and said this is more important now.
Oh, okay.
And the answer that he gave, I don't like because, we need this hardware with knobs on it. Well, we didn't need that. We weren't talking about that when you sold us the radio. You were saying we're going to operate this with a laptop or another computer from another location. So, I get the business decision, but it kind of ticked me off.
Well, you can't please everybody. And by the way.
They'll take my $7,000 and hold it for more.
By the way, since I got in your wheel so easy, what about the boom and the mic right there? Will you throw that in too? I need to get me a boom. I think that would look better here, on the show. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you should get a boom.
Yeah.
Call Bob will get you one.
Yeah. Well, I don't.
Well, I'm kidding. You don't. I'm sure you don't ask for things. So. And I like when Bob comes on your show.
He's got a Heil microphone.
Yeah. Bob gave me this one.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Is that the PR10?
That's the PR10.
Yeah, the same one I got.
Yeah, this is the PR40, and I
got mine in a cheap boom.
And then Bob got me these. These are the PR35s. This is his Pro mic.
Yeah, that's nice too.
Yeah, these are really.
I have a PR781 that I'm not using right now, but I like that too.
Yeah.
There's Mike.
Mike joined in. Okay, hey Mike.
Mike.
Hey, I'm here.
All right, he made it. So, what took you so long? Where were you?
I'm getting some garble though.
Did you see the show tonight, Mike? CQ Contact. What's that? CQ Contact.
I think he's got another channel tuned in or something.
CQ Contest.
Yeah, CQ.
5959.
Yeah, they're making comments in the chat room about your Geochron clock there. Oh, by the way, put that in the wheel too. I forgot to add that.
Does that even show up right? Or is
it
my video backward?
W Sprint. I see it. Very good.
Yeah, there you go. I got a button from N9RV, who's editor over at National Contest Journal.
All right.
We had breakfast the other day.
All right. Well, they were asking about in the chat room about the mics. This mic right here is the PR. It's the PR 35. This is the one that all the performers use, the Carrie Underwoods and the Charlie Daniels, and professional singers and stuff. The problem is, you don't need a mic like this for a ham rig because, the frequency response on this is like 10 cycles to 20,000, and of course your radio is only going to see, from probably, 300 cycles, to maybe 2,000. So you're wasting, a mic like this. But hey, we use it on the webcast and stuff. I mean, it's just a nice, heavy, nice constructed mic.
It's a great microphone. I use the W2IHY here, the outboard audio equalizer equipment for HF. Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, here. That works out good.
Yeah, here comes the kitty cat. My naked cat.
Yeah, the shaved, cat.
Let me see the cat. So there he is.
Yeah, I don't want to change the ESRB rating of this podcast.
Gee, was that a cat?
That is a cat. That's a sphinx. It's a hairless cat. He's coming up to check things out.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I don't think you do too well up here. He needs a little more hair on him if he's in the UP.
Oh, you're all the way up there.
It would freeze up there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm all the way up right in the UP, a mile from Lake Superior. Can't go much higher.
I always wonder what it would be like to live up there in that Upper Peninsula. Is that what you call Upper Peninsula? Is that or Upper? What do you call it?
My audio is breaking up here a lot. The UP, the Upper Peninsula.
There you go. There you go.
Michigan, right?
There you go. Right there. There's Michigan right there. There's a map of Michigan. Or is that it? Is that it? I don't know if it's that way or that way.
Yeah, but you're forgetting the little part.
Is it left hand? Is it left hand or right hand? Hey, hey, let me ask. So, Mike, when I do the map, do I do right hand? Oh, no, wait, that's my left hand. Do I do left hand or do I do right hand? What's
right hand?
Right hand. Okay.
Yeah.
And then, but you got to put the little.
Is that in the right place? Is that in the right place or the wrong place? That's the wrong place. It's got to go here.
It's got to be on the other side.
It's got to be over.
There you go.
Well, you can't do that. It's better to do this.
Why are you asking me? I live in New Jersey.
Yeah. Okay. Don says he smells cigar smoke.
Yeah.
Morticia.
Where's our other
Adams.
Dr. Don? Huh?
Say yeah to the up. Yeah. Yes. Salute. That sounds like Canadian talk or something. I don't know.
Hey,
Eh?
you betcha, eh? You betcha, eh? Ah, eh?
Yeah, I think. I think you
live
might.
up here in the
Oh, go ahead.
Well, you guys talk funny up here, and I mean, down here, it's straight English, we, like, jeet yet?
we talk very well up here. We talk to like the Finlanders that all live around this area up here, eh?
Yeah, and we fix
the border from the Canadians.
And down here, of course, there's only one or two words used. We fix things. I mean, I'm fixing to go do this. I'm fixing to drive a truck. I'm fixing to pick up some groceries.
Do you turn out the lights?
I'm fixing to turn off the lights.
Did you say Jeep yet?
Yeah, jeet yet? No, Jew?
No, Jew. I don't bring the Jews into this. Come on. Take offense. Oh,
Does somebody?
enjoy it.
Eric.
There we go.
Eric came in. Eric.
Look at Tom coming in and Eric too.
There we go.
Where's Tom?
Where's who?
Oh, that's you, Tom. Never mind. Excuse me.
Where's me?
Somewhere there. Yeah, I think eventually you're gonna have to do some voicing and devoicing in the good old IRC chat room there.
Oh, really? Yeah, well,
as again, so a little trollish behavior at times, but not too bad. At least this time.
Well, yeah. We've been really lucky on all our webcasts that things have always been pretty decent. A big event like Dayton where we'll have 20,000 people, we might have to kick off, 2 or 3 maybe out of 20,000 for that whole week.
Tom, you get 20,000 viewing in Dayton?
3 years ago, our unique video viewers was right at 50,000. Now that's over a 5-day period.
That's still great.
Because we go live on Wednesday and we make our drive home on Sunday. So, and that was about 150 countries. But let me tell you, the numbers are dropping off. The last couple of years, it's been in like the 23,000, 26,000. But you do a show like this, and we peaked out at 156 viewers at the same time tonight. Now, when I look at the stats, it's probably going to show that we probably had 450 to 500 people come and go, and we, at times from 8:20 until 9:30, we were between 130 and 150 people. We peaked at 156 at right about 9 o'clock.
I think Eric's got his microphone working.
I saw a bunch of people getting crapping out after your co-host started talking and didn't get to the guest right away. But I mean, he needed to introduce himself to new people that didn't know him, and he did a fine job.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah, they were typing in there, get him off, with the Flex Radio. I said, boy, they have no patience at all.
Well,
I understand that.
But the thing is, if we need to be on for 4 hours or 5 hours, we can just stay on that long,
Yeah, but you've got an hour show, so I guess people.
Well, actually, the show is not really an hour. We've never set a deadline time on it. I tried it. Cut it off 9:15. From the formal part. But hey, if we had to go an hour and a half or 2 hours on the formal part, we could.
Well, you've done it before, so that's fine.
Yeah. But you guys over there on the right coast, I mean, it gets late. You got to go to bed.
Yeah. Oh, it's 11 o'clock. Dang it. Look at that.
That it is.
So Eric, well, who is Eric? Do I know Eric? Hello, Eric.
I'll tell you what. I got my Flex Radio or my HF Auto Tuner to follow my Flex Radio tonight, so that was something interesting.
You got a auto tuner? What, it came in the mail or something?
No. I have the Palstar HF Auto,
Okay.
which is their 1800 watt auto tuner, antenna tuner, and someone wrote some software for it, and I just got that all working. So now when I change frequency on my Flex radio, it retunes, which is pretty cool. And now I just got to get the expert amp to run with it, which I think it's doing already, but I just got to double check it.
Yeah, they were asking who was the first guest. It was only Flex tonight.
Maybe they were just talking about your co-host.
No, someone came in late when with their other guest. Let's see. Yeah, they could have been.
Well, I'm disappointed with you, Tom. Another ham fest and drawings, and my name didn't come up again.
Did you not win anything?
Oh man.
No.
Well, I was so busy. I honestly didn't even know you were in the chat room. I don't know who was in the chat room. I get busy trying to take care of everything, and I get very little time in the chat room. They could be calling us all kinds of names in there, and I wouldn't know it. Hopefully our admin would, fix it. But, well, hang in there. You'll win. You'll probably win a big something soon.
I see you win.
I was going to. Oh, yeah, look at this, guys. Oh.
Yeah. Go ahead, show us what you want.
Let me show you. I hadn't taken it out of the box yet. I have not had time yet. We were. Let me change my camera here. Let me see. Let me.
What do you got there?
Well, I'm trying to change my camera. Okay. Look at this. Look at this, man.
I think you need to put that up and raffle that off on the next show.
Yeah,
raffle off right now. There's
I don't have any way to get on Fusion, and Yezu was with us. In fact, Yezu is really starting to like us. But anyway.
Hey, we got a Fusion radio. My repeater up here is Fusion, so hey, they don't.
Yeah. One of my friends up in New Jersey, there's putting a Fusion on.
I got one right here.
I won. Kathy went and bought a few tickets and threw them in the thing, and right in the middle of rolling around, they called my name, and I won this FTM 100R. This is not the big radio, but this doesn't have the color display, but it still does the Fusion and all that.
I'll tell you what you should do. Put 3 names in the hat, because there's 3 of us here right now. Eric doesn't count because he don't have a camera up, and just pull a name out of that and see which 3 of us win.
I might have to do that. I've got. Hey, at Dayton, let me tell you something. I've got two brand new. I've got 2 prizes in the closet. 3 years ago, I won the I think it's a Yezu 70-watt 2-meter rig. I haven't even taken it out of the box yet. And I won a Kenwood Handy-Talkie a couple years ago. Hadn't even opened that box up yet.
Oh, come on. Now you need to get them away.
Must be nice.
I bet you the batteries probably won't even charge in the Handy-Talkie. It's getting so old.
You got to give them away. Give them awards like school club or something. You got to give that stuff away.
I still won't win.
Oh, hang in there. You'll win. We mentioned we're going to try to start giving away some nice prizes on the show here, and
shut up.
We may even have a majorly big prize quarterly. That's coming up. I mean, our show is fixing to do quite a bit of expanding over the next couple months.
Well, if Gerald's going to start giving away some Flex radios, I'll be in line for those. But give those other prizes. If you're not going to use them, Tom, give them away to a school club.
Well, I'll consider that. Yeah. I guess I already give it away to one of our viewers. Maybe I'll just give it away to somebody in the hangout.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's see. Yes. There's 1, 2, 3. There's 4. There's 4 of you guys in here tonight.
I will donate it.
Tell you what I'll do. I'll give this prize away to one of the 4 people in the room tonight if you'll send me your Flex.
Well, that leaves me out.
So, okay.
Well, as long as you're just sending Jeff's Flex, that's fine.
Question question in the chat room, Jeff. What are you using to interface your HF Auto? HF Auto. What's that?
Oh, okay. Well, the HF Auto is the Palstar antenna tuner. And let me see if I can. There's a serial interface, and they just came out with the latest version of their firmware today. 2.35. Let me see. I didn't like that. 2.35, and there's just look up this call sign, W1TR rig control, and you will find everything you're looking for. W1TR. Does that work?
For the guy in the chat room that was asking, I don't know. He's listening, so.
Did you hear me? Tom?
I wasn't interested.
Sounds busy playing.
I wasn't interested.
Yeah.
I know.
I was just reading a question out of the chat room. They heard you.
Right,
they heard you.
Tom. All right, Major Tom. That's Major Tom there.
Earth, yeah.
I'll type it. I think we lost Major Tom.
Oh, Major Tom's here.
Okay.
Well, I'm seeing. I got my iPad going, but I got the computer. I can see him on the computer screen. He's floating. Hey, Tom, you were talking about the guy with MFJ, one of the customers, and your comment caught my attention. You were talking about a stealth antenna where he's going to be.
Oh,
and you said.
Yeah. I think I might have sold an antenna tuner for him.
And you told him put a black antenna up. You won't see it in the trees. And I didn't realize that until you mentioned it. A couple weeks ago, I bought a Radio Waves 75-meter double bazooka. And now when I go in front, I look towards my back, I can see my 40-meter white wire, but I don't notice the black one. I said, oh, that Tom was right.
I tell you, man, you can put some antennas up and people don't see them. Let me tell you, you can put all type of wire antennas up.
Yeah.
You know, so there's ways to get around these homeowner association and stuff. And there's all kinds of stealth antennas. You know, this guy was trying to buy him a vertical, but he didn't need, you know, he would have needed radials, and he wanted to put it on a mast, and it can't be above the top of the house. I said, look, man, just spend $250 on an auto tuner and run you a piece of wire out there. Make it a loop. Make it straight. Make it a V. Whatever you want to. You know, load up the gutters on the house with it. It'll work.
Hey, Tom.
Yeah. Yes?
W3TMB. Send me an email. N3VE@ARRL.net, and I'll send you the email that talks about how I was able to follow the HF Auto, or the HF Auto follows my Flex Radio.
All right. So to repeat that, I think that was W3TMB. Send an email to Jeff, N3VE@ARRL.net, I think, and he'll give you that information you need about the auto, the HF Auto, whatever that is, tuner.
Yes, that's correct. Neat stuff.
Yeah, I still got M&M's left.
Oh man, I would have ate all those up the first night, man.
I haven't finished them yet.
That's got to be a different bag. Come on.
Yeah, same old bag. Yeah.
You guys need I can't do that. I was going to do a weather report, but I can't do the weather. I'm not on area.
Look at that snow coming into Montana.
Woo.
Well, so you put that map back up, and you'll see Michigan.
Oh, will I? Let's see. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I see the little mitten right there. You're supposed to have a mitten on, aren't you? When you do that, you can't do it with your fingers.
Yeah, you can see the little squall right over Marquette, where in the UP we're at.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Wow. Well, that's going to give us rain.
Yeah, you can see Wisconsin It's just moving right over Wisconsin and across the UP.
We're not going to get the snow this time, just rain, thank God.
Yeah, that's snow for me. Yeah, just keep that map enlarged and go up. Yeah. Move the map north.
Oh, I've been off the map for a minute now.
Morticia Adams forgot to pick up her kid from work. Oh my goodness.
What was that? What? Morticia
I'm
what?
looking in the chat room. Morticia Adams forgot to
Oh, man.
pick the kid up from work.
Well, can't blame it on us.
Well, they can get a couple hours of overtime or something, right?
It depends on what
I
kind of work.
don't know where Morticia is. Hopefully it's not too cold. Hey, it was 75 degrees here today. We broke a record. Here it is, the 1st of February, and we hit 75.
Wow.
I'm at 30 degrees.
I keep talking into my microphone. It's not the right microphone. The microphone's over there on the camera.
Oh.
Of course I have it. I keep turning this
See,
way
you don't even need that microphone.
Oh, you want it?
Yeah, send it on over to me. Put it in the box with the Flex.
Yeah, raffle it up.
Minnesota got about a foot today, a foot of snow. Mike, how far are you away from, what is it, Petoskey? Petoskey?
Petoskey.
They want to know how far Mike is away from Petoskey.
Petoskey's in the lower peninsula. You'd have to, from Petoskey, go right across the northern part of Lake Michigan and up into the UP.
That's not where the groundhog is it?
No, that's over here in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, what's that name? What's that city?
Punxsutawney.
Oh, yeah.
Punxsutawney.
Oh, that groundhog's on Ohio.
Yeah.
Punxsutawney Phil is in Pennsylvania. That's the famous
Or
one.
Pennsylvania, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a joke. He didn't see his shadow today, so it's supposed to be a short time till spring.
Yeah, good luck. He's wrong.
Sweet.
He's wrong 61% of the time, which is probably not as bad as most of the weather people in the industry.
Well,
He's got a 50-50 chance, just like the weatherman.
Man, I was hoping Doc would come in here. I'm getting a little, little sinus or something. I thought maybe he could recommend it. Actually, we got
consulting.
I got a nice note on the Facebook group last week from Jill. It said that we should have been commended for talking about colonoscopies on the show.
Well, sometimes we got to make it medical.
Yeah.
Jerry just showed up.
Jerry,
how you doing?
What's up?
Now, let me ask him something. Let me see something here. That's Jerry. Now, Jerry, I'm going to ask you a question, Jerry. Did you tune into the show tonight, or did you just join here?
you got to turn on your mic.
Yeah, he's playing with us.
Just mime it, okay?
Uh-huh.
Like charades. 2 words.
Well, let me. I see the problem. Let me ask him something. Let me ask something.
Okay, are you guys hearing me?
Yeah, now again. There you go.
No, I can't hear you now.
Okay, you had a question for me?
Yeah. Question was, did you tune in the show tonight, or did you just now join us on Hangout? Come on.
What SDR?
You're with
Does that
NCR,
sound
so
familiar?
that means you must have worked late, right? All right. Well, we'll give you a pass this time.
I got part of the show, man. I saw the beginning, but I had to leave.
Yeah, well, it was a good show. It was with Flex Radio, founder of Flex Radio.
How come we couldn't get Gerald in here?
Well, I don't know. He may have not been prepared. Hey, I tested with him yesterday on his iPad, but then tonight when we got ready for the show, we were 5 minutes before the show and he had nothing that would work. He had to go find an old laptop somewhere and put Skype on it. And so we were down to the wire getting him on tonight.
Well, I'm glad you got him. And I guess that's why his video is so good. But even your co-host, This video wasn't that great. You look good.
Is the new co-host inside you also?
Is the new co-host what?
Is he on this talk?
No, he's not.
He's gone?
Yeah, Frank didn't stay.
Oh, man.
But he could be watching right now, so we can't say anything bad about him.
Well, yeah, that's
I'm sure, but Frank was watching the chat room. I'm sure he saw all the comments.
Hey, Jerry, I think you can turn one of your feet off.
Yeah, hello. Test 1, 2, 3, 4. Hello, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm trying to see who's got feedback. I don't see anybody now.
Okay.
Did you fix that, Jerry?
Usually when I talk, I can see other people's lights light up. Hello. I see William's lights lighting up. William's lights the ones the feedback's coming from.
Must have my mic too hot.
Everybody a little lit tonight?
I'll turn it down a little bit.
He's cold out there. What's the temperature in the garage tonight?
It's probably like 30 something.
Oh, say hello to Charlie, KM6CEM. I think he's out in California. Hey, Charlie, how you doing? It's going to be 49. Ham 55 said it's going to be 49 degrees there near Ann Arbor.
I see in the chat room somebody's asked me how far I am from the Mackinac Bridge. Once I cross the Mackinac Bridge, it's a 3-hour drive.
Wow.
At driving what speed?
Well, the legal 55 miles an hour. Of course, I'm an ex police officer, so I get of course.
55, jeez, that's slow. Montana, we're like minimum 80 out here. No, it's actually the highway speed limit out here. It's 80.
From the east end, from the east end of the UP to the west, it's 300 miles. I'm up Marquette. I got about 150 miles to go towards the bridge, or 150 miles to go towards Wisconsin, the other direction.
What's the speed limit on those roads?
Our speed limit is all up here at 55 legally.
You're kidding? 55? Wow.
Even on the interstate highway?
Get great gas mileage.
We don't have any interstates in the UP.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
No. Well, we do. There's from Sault Ste. Marie to the Mackinac Bridge. There's I-75. That's a few mile stretch. That's about it.
Most of our highways are 65 here in New Jersey, and I'll drive 79. I won't hit 80 because I don't want to get the over 15 mile an hour over ticket.
Yeah, ours are 70 down here, but as people know that watched the drive back from Dayton one year, we were stopped doing 89 and a 70.
Whoops.
Oops. Yeah.
And I've got a video we made about that, and we played, Sammy Haggard, I Can't Drive 55. I think that's who did it. And somebody just mentioning it in the chat room, I can't drive 55.
Yeah, all our rural highways out here are 70.
Well, as it should be, as it was when we were kids.
And the interstates are all 80. Unless you're by a big city, then it goes down to 65, but, that's only a small stretch here and there.
That's the way it should. The gasoline's cheap enough now, they don't have to worry about the 55 mile an hour speed limit.
Yeah, true that.
Somewhere it was down to under $1, I think. Here in Memphis, I'm buying it for like $1.35 or something like that.
We're down to about $1.66 here, but not that low.
Well, New Jersey's supposed to be the cheapest state in the union. Let me see what it's going for around here. Well, we have the least amount of taxes, and our roads actually show it because they don't fix the roads. our governor. Yeah, and he's running for president. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we only have 2 seasons up here in the UP. We've got winter and then road construction.
Yeah.
Like
That's
that
about
one.
the same here.
We just call it the orange barrel season.
Well, I've got a video. There's a song called Orange Barrels, and it just shows the person driving going by, orange barrel, orange barrel, orange barrel. And I had it in my laptop when we were streaming back from Dayton this year. I was going to play it, but I forgot to put it on.
Yeah, we're $1.47 right now here in New Jersey.
That's pretty good.
Right.
Well, I'm gonna have to drive there to get some get lower gas in.
Yeah, there you go. $1.47 for regular.
That's not bad.
No, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So it's good. I use premium, but oh well, I don't pay for it. The company pays for it. So I don't care.
Well, our cheapest gas up here in UP is up at the reservation. The one gas station run by the one tribe up here. They don't have to pay the state taxes and stuff, so that's the cheapest.
But can you buy there?
Oh yeah, you can buy there.
Oh, well, that's interesting.
Yeah,
Wow.
we just up at Baraga where we've got the casino. We're the first gaming casino when the Indian tribe started here.
Okay, yeah, because there's some in I think in Connecticut there's an Indian gaming tribe or whatever casino. But I didn't know they could sell gasoline too. That's pretty cool. Wow, how about that?
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
They old chief Fred Dakota in his garage started a gaming room, and that's actually where the first Indian casinos started. Now they're all over the country here now.
Pretty cool.
So, Uncle,
What year was that?
Where was that?
What year was that?
Oh, it's probably well over 20-some years ago. I can't remember. Yeah.
Okay.
Uncle Fester, he buy his gas by the liter, and it's by the liter. It's 82 cents a liter, so that's $3 and something a gallon. I don't know where he is. I guess he's probably in England or somewhere.
Yeah, where is Uncle Fester?
Uncle Fester, where are you? And also, good night to Ham Radio 54446. Thanks for spreading the word. Oh, I was going to make an announcement. Hey, the 6th of this month, that's only 4 days from now, I'm going to be on, what am I going to be on? I'm going to be on KTKK AM 630 in Salt Lake City for 2 hours in a talk show. I want to talk about our webcast for 2 hours. I don't know what they're going to talk about, but this is the country's third oldest talk radio station in the country. Audience of about 50,000.
You'll figure out something to talk about.
We'll figure that out. And then sometime in the next couple of weeks, I've got to give a presentation about our webcast to the San Diego Amateur Radio Club. Rockwell asked me this last year, but I turned him down. I didn't have anything together, so once I put something together, it's easier to do.
I see in the chat room they're talking about, Michigan is talking about on the freeways and the interstate's raising it to 75, so. Yeah.
No, they should.
Yeah.
Uncle Fester's in Canada.
Okay. Gentlemen, Tom, you're included in that group. I got to go to bed.
Thank you. I probably need to turn it off too. I'm ready for a peanut butter
Who's that,
sandwich or
Jeffrey?
something. Yeah, it was Jeff.
Yes, sir. Yes, Jerry.
Oh, okay.
This time back.
Still on the Jersey side?
Yeah, you coming? You been up here yet or not?
No, not yet, man. It's next 2 weeks.
Okay.
You near Cherry Hill, right?
Yes, sir.
I've been there.
Okay. Well, look me up.
I might just come across the bridge. I used to come across the Ben Franklin every Friday afternoon to get fuel, man.
Oh, see, he came over to buy fuel. Hear that?
Yeah, I heard that.
That time it used to be what, $1.35 a gallon.
It's 140. Well, 149 right now. So, I I work probably only 2 miles over the bridge, and I live 6 miles past that.
Okay. Yeah, I was doing a project across there for T-Mobile for 3 months in 2008.
Right.
I used to come across. I was living in Maryland though, but I used to drive across from Maryland to Pennsylvania, stay during the week in Pennsylvania, and on Friday afternoons around 3 o'clock, maybe between 2 and 4 o'clock actually, I drive across the Ben Franklin to get gas at that gas station about a mile in off the bridge, then make a U-turn and head straight to Maryland. It used to be fun.
Well, that's not bad because you don't have to pay the toll going that direction. So there you go.
Kurt's gonna be in Cherry Hill tomorrow. Kurt. Hey guys, you noticed you noticed the phone didn't ring loud tonight.
That was great. Didn't blast me out of my chair.
In fact, I couldn't even hear it ring.
I'm surprised you didn't have many more callers. I was surprised that I thought that for sure that I would not be the first caller.
Yeah.
Yeah, with that many people watching and that many people in the chat room talking about it, you would think I would have drummed up a few more people that would want to voice any questions.
There were a lot of questions that were answered in the chat.
Yeah, but I just thought there
would
be people that wanted to ask Gerald a few more questions.
Sure.
And I talk to Gerald every time I'm out at Dayton, and I phoned him a few times, but I hope it didn't piss him off. But well, he's got to answer those questions. That's what the point is, right? I mean.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Now, so are you going to be at Dayton this year?
Yes.
Now, are you wanting tickets for inside booth, or you just want tickets to get in?
Oh no, I want to. If you can, and I want arena tickets, not pay for them.
No. I mean, do you want booth space inside, or do you just want entry tickets?
Oh, I don't want booth space. I just want you to get me 2 of your booth tickets.
Oh, you just want entry? Okay. But boy, I see that flex coming fast, man.
You're not gonna hurt me out there. Right?
Hey, let me
find some stairs, push you down,
just a couple,
Contest University or something.
Just a couple things I need to just ask here real quick. You got any diseases or anything I should know about?
I mean, if you can do it, I just figured as a vendor inside, you can purchase more tickets than you for your staff, and I would like 2 of your staff tickets.
I'll see what I can do. I'm not purchasing my tickets anymore.
Oh, okay.
So. Yeah, just another question. Would you're not happen to be like a race car driver or tower climber or?
I do jump out of planes very often.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right.
I'm not asking for anything.
Very good. Okay.
I just thought you could get. I just thought, Tom. I mean, I don't know if it's appropriate to talk here, on your show, but no, I thought it'd be neat to, we get out there. Like Thursday,
Yeah. Well,
early, and it would be neat to, we always get vendor tickets on the outside. It'd be neat to just walk through, and if you need some help setting up, we'd be glad to help doing that too.
Understand? Okay. I'll look around and see what I can do.
All right, buddy.
All right, go to bed.
All right. Yes, I need to do that.
I need to go too, man. It's
good night, guys.
It's getting late here.
Yeah, be good, man.
Hi, Jeff.
Good night, Jeff.
Thank you.
Oh, I think I'm gonna go too, guys. You guys can stay on talk all night if you want to, but. And William, you can sit there and freeze if you want to.
I'm almost. I'm out of here too. So you guys have a great week, and we'll catch you next weekend or next.
Yeah, you guys be good.
All right, guys.
All right, take care.
I'm out of here. I'll see y'all. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
All right, I'm going to pull a plug here in just a minute. Let's see what's going on here.
So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There's the answer code.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.
Good night to Hooterville. I just wonder where Hooterville really is.
Truckload. And when you get it, you got some. Don't worry, 'cause I'm coming. I'm a soul man. I'm a soul man. I'm a soul man. I'm a soul man. Got what I got the hard way. Each and every day. Don't worry. Coming to you on a dusty road. Good loving. I got a truckload. And when you get it, you got some. Don't worry, 'cause I'm coming. I'm a soul man. Soul man, I'm a soul man, I'm a soul man. Got what I got the hard way. I'll make it easy each and every day. So don't worry, don't you fret, 'cause you ain't seen nothing yet. I'm a soul man. Soul man. I'm a soul man. I'm a soul man. Listen, now listen. On the side street, I was educated from good stock. When I start, I just can't stop. I'm a soul man. Soul man, I'm a soul man, I'm a soul man. Well, grab a rope and I'll pull you in. Keep hope and be the only boyfriend, yeah. on a mission from God.
All right. Good night, everybody. Enjoyed it tonight.